Well, hello, that's me again. Today is November 20th. It is Wednesday. It's a hump day. Everybody probably expects from me the comments on the update of the Russian nuclear doctrine. I will go there, and believe me, I understand that I have to kind of elaborate on this, but believe me, it's very important, but it is pretty routine as a matter of fact, and we'll talk about it. But before we talk about it, and about all this ATACMS thing and Storm Shadow thing, let me remind you something for people to understand how much they are entrapped, basically, or captured by this what is known as narratives by primarily Western media. Well, Russian media are not much better. The average American journal is as imbecilic as it is average American one. But let me put it this way in perspective. Remember June 2024? Here it is. How about that? I'm reminding you about what happened on the June 23 this year, that on Sunday afternoon, the armed forces of Ukraine attacked Sevastopol, which, by the way, is Russian territory. It always was Russian territory, with American-made ATACMS missiles. The number of victims as a result of attack of the armed forces of Ukraine has increased to 124. There were 5 killed. It was cluster munition. It was one that shot down missiles, which still was able to basically dispose of, or launch or drop their cluster munitions, and it fell on the civilian beach in Sevastopol, where people were just sunbathing and swimming. So this is to explain to you that ATACMS and Russia is being attacked every day by all kinds of the means, including so-called deep into Russian territory. Some of them fly as far as Kaluga, which is, by the way, is the southern part of the satellite city of Moscow. Others fly from different directions. There are still suspicions that some of them fly from the Baltic states, which is totally normal for the Nazi entities, which they are. So, and this is nothing new. It happened before, it probably will continue to happen further. And do not forget that if you ask any inbred political specialist from UK, from Parliament, they are obsessed there with the Crimean Bridge. It's the whole thing of British, basically, ruling class being nothing more than, as I already stated, a collection of the inbred chihuahuas. But, they are obsessed with the bridge, and they will be allowing the, storm shadows to fly. It has happened before on very many occasions. And the only thing is because obviously, and believe me, I have no enjoyment in stating this obvious fact, the average attention span of the modern Western public is that of the guppy fish. They forget what have happened before, and because of that, you can easily manipulate with them. You can easily drive them to the hysterical state of mind by repeating that, oh, for the first time, they used ATACMS on deep in Russian territory. It's garbage. Let me show you something, what is deep means. It's actually from the RIA News, but actually, if you look attentively below, it's just merely translated map by the Lockheed Martin. And as you can see yourself, that's what depth into Russian territory is. And ATACMS recently, yesterday, 2 days ago, they have been launched against Bryansk area. It's the northernmost pink and dark pink color, but out of those 6 missiles, 5 have been shot down. The 6th one have been damaged, fell on the territory of one of the industrial plants, didn't create any kind of damage, and nobody was hurt. So this is what is going to be expected from those people. And why, you may say, and we will talk about why the situation develops as it develops at this present moment, especially with Russia updating nuclear doctrine. Okay, let's start. Here's how to put it politely. Here is Mr. Sullivan. This is I'll remind you something about this guy. He cannot have any kind, skills or toolkit for being national security advisor. He is a lawyer by education, and his only achievement in his life, in his sociopathic life, is to be the manager of the Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016, and that's pretty much the extent of his abilities, and he's the author of the Russia Gate. He is a mama's boy. He doesn't understand what war is. He has no clue about it. The only thing which he does professionally all his life is pretty much most in Biden administration, he lies. And as you can see yourself, Kiev Stan Sullivan says U.S. role in defending Ukraine defines Biden's legacy. Well, there you go. The guy knows once Mr. Trump gets into the White House and sworn as the president of the United States, there will be issues pertaining the activity of this guy together with Anthony Blinken, the guys who lie and constantly actually try to avoid what is possibly they will face, because a lot of things which they did actually qualifies for them being behind bars for very long terms. And because this guy understands what he's facing, look what he does. Yesterday, talking to PBS, he, as you can see yourself, he states these things. And these things are absolutely wonderful. First, Jake Sullivan, he is a kid, okay? He's sociopath, but as many sociopaths, they have a not only narcissistic, basically type of the character, they really are not mature emotionally and in many other respects. Professionally, he certainly is absolutely useless. And look at this. He says, about this authorization, nobody really heard anything official about it. But obviously, Biden never came out and said, oh, I gave that authorization. It kind of was thrown into by New York Times, but look at this. If the US were to authorize the use of any weapon system, including this weapon system, talking about ATACMS, it would mean it wouldn't mean direct US participation in the war. It's pretty much the same as I get my, I get my baseball bat, go in and go to Mr. Sullivan and just break his whatever, hit him with the bat on his forehead or something, and then say, you know what, it doesn't mean that I'm participating in beating you, it is my bat. And this is exactly what this guy says. But that's the problem, because they are immature people. I mean, in every single respect, they do not understand that, as they say in the Orient, you can say the baklava 100 times. It will not make it much sweeter in your mouth anyway. And he thinks that by saying this, it wouldn't mean. It means exactly that US is participator, or basically participant, or the party to the war. And Mr. Sullivan, has to understand that it's not up to him anymore, because Russia will decide now if, United States is participant, which Russia already decided that United States is participant, and all his legerdemain and trying to create the escalation in order to avoid being put behind bars for, many crimes he committed, actually, together with a bunch of other people from Biden administration. That certainly is one of the way to do it, is to avoid it by, they want to light, basically the world on the World War III. He doesn't understand this, but what can I say? He is a sociopath. And so he continues to lie with a straight face, and as you can see yourself, that he talks about the fact that Russia has gone to another country from another part of the world, North Korea, brought in thousands of their troops to the front lines and have added them to this war. He, of course, lies through his teeth. There were some uh, uh, joint exercises between Russia and North Korea in the Far East. They are over. All North Korean troops returned back to their barracks in North Korea. So there's nothing of lights. But because we understand that we're dealing with the very responsible, people with high honor, and integrity, which is of course people like from Reuters or Associated Press or CNN, we just received actually the confirmation of Mr. Sullivan's claim about participation of the North Korean troops in the war in a special military operation, and it's just in. As you can see yourself, that was what delivered through the front lines by courageous, intelligence people. And as you can see yourself, these are North Korean officers torturing one of the American advisors, and this is in Donbass. So this is now we have the full documentary proof of that. And as you can see yourself, so I have to apologize to Mr. Sullivan, because obviously he is not lying, and we have now factual proof. In reality, of course, you understand, I'm screwing with you. And in order to understand why they are in panic, let's take a look at the today's tally, which is November 20th. As you can see yourself, 141 UAVs, by the way, shut down over Russia. You can see yourself that we have yet another above 2,000 day. And as you can see yourself, 21 tanks, APCs, and a bunch of the hardware being destroyed in Russia. And just to give you a heads up, we have this report today that the grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine blocking the Algovskaya Grove was destroyed. Yet another 400 plus of those people have been killed. And today the tally of the killed in Kursk Oblast, or Kursk region alone is 34,360 or something like that, which it was this morning. They will adjust those numbers as they go. And going back to our good friend Marat Khairulin, we can see that we also have the very serious activization of the assaults by Russia and around Orekhov, and the whole front is on fire, and very little, well, if any, good news. And once this high from the we attacked with the ATACMS is over, well, we will go back to the square one. And here I want to put out for you something which, many people already cannot even hide. Even such sewer as Bloomberg, look what one of those guys write. He is, of course, Cretan himself, Mark Champion, and I will show you his CV. He is a typical, low-life creature, which, bottom feeder. But even that guy, he cannot deny this already 2 days ago that Ukrainian allies are inviting their own strategic defeat. Well, I don't know if they're inviting it, they have been already strategically defeated, but okay, whatever, at least he understands this. And so he says that last year some Western leaders started boasting of Russia's strategic defeat in Ukraine. Well, you can expect from them they are illiterate, as are most of the military in the West, in NATO, including Pentagon. And this was always a terrible idea, and blind President Putin never tires of citing as he pushes the false claim that he sent his armies across the border to defend Russia from Western aggression. Well, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. It's Western aggression, and it's now they are shooting at Russian territory. They've been shooting for a while, and so he continues that. Now, after more than 1,000 days of bloodshed, we're finally beginning to see the outlines of such a strategic defeat emerge. Only the potential losers are Ukraine and its allies, not Putin. Well, yeah, I've been on a record from the get-go that it's just a matter of time, and as Russians constantly stress this issue. I wrote the whole book about it, that yeah, it would have been over much faster, but basically NATO got involved directly, hiding, because that's the level of the NATO militaries, is hiding behind somebody's back. But yeah, they are defeated, and it's just a matter of how it's going to be arranged. I already stating many times ad nauseam, it's all about arranging phase. And now he talks about how some Republicans who back Trump peace now approach say, they suddenly say that, yeah, we cannot continue with this and things of this nature. But yeah, it's his lamentations. And if you take a look at his CV, you will understand very clear that the guy, obviously, he wouldn't understand the first thing about military and about how wars are prosecuted. But here we have his CV. He got bachelor's degree in English language, so yeah, that's what they are. A master's degree in Russian studies from Georgetown University. That means he was brainwashed, because there's no Russian studies on any level in the United States. It is completely wasteland of the dissidents and BSers who basically make, as I already stating very many times, all kinds of their careers by basically lying and creating narratives which those nincompoops in Washington, they love to hear. And there you go. That's how you have one strategic miscalculation after the other. And we can take a look at it from the point of view of the wonderful record of the finest fighting force in the history, which actually didn't win a single war. Well, we're not talking about the brilliant victory over the basically Grenada, and Panama was kind of, yeah, but those mighty armies, they didn't stand a chance against those, right? So, and that's what happens. And now they try to deny that somebody authorized, those ATACMS into Russia. Well, because they needed the really interesting headline, and that's the only way they can do things now, because obviously they need to basically emulate some kind of the activity that they're still in control. Well, too bad. I mean, the Russian air defense is by far the best air defense in the world. And yeah, it's some of the leakers, we talk about leakers, that basically something which gets through will happen. But here comes this issue. And we know that Mr. Biden approved the supply of the anti-infantry mines. Sure, of course. And they try to, kind of say that, well, that like Mrs. Singh, who is the Sabrina Singh, who is the spokesperson for the Pentagon, that when asked about changes in Russian nuclear weapon policy, said that the United States is not at war with Russia. No. She doesn't understand, as do not understand those people in State Department, Pentagon, CIA, what have you. It doesn't matter how many times you repeat it. You are at war with Russia. And now, absolutely, because of that, the appropriate measures will be taken. For example, Russians may decide to supply some strange weapons to all kinds of people who want to sink a frigate or two of the Royal Navy, or maybe hit, this time for real, some US nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. But there you go, because it doesn't matter how many times you repeat it, because United States now is a party to war against Russia. Another matter that, again, as she says, let me be clear, we are not at war with Russia. No, you are, Mrs. Singh, and go and learn international law. And let me tell you, Mr. Putin, being not only an intelligence person, but being the very good lawyer in his own right, and of course Russians have very strong lawyers operating there on the diplomatic front, they all say, yeah, United States is the party to war in Russia. And that's what Biden wanted. Not Biden, the people who control him, which is, of course, primarily Mr. Sullivan, the author of this whole cluster coitus. So it is what it is. And so what Russia did, Russia simply adjusted its doctrine, adding some critical points to make sure that when it's gonna hurt United States, which is at war with Russia, as is UK and France, And so, well, guess what? That there is a deterrent there in place, which will make sure that they can squeal, they can, wave their hands, because they're gonna get hurt really badly. So, and here it is. So I have to at least here give RT a thumbs up for actually making a succinct, so to speak, or well, distillation, if you wish, of their doctrine, which was signed by, as you can see yourself, this is the order of President of Russian Federation from 19th of November, yesterday. It is about the basically disposal of the old doctrine and, implementation of the new one. Well, the new one is actually still retains quite a bit of the same language and same things, but we have to take a look at now how RT gives it, and Russia's new nuclear doctrine, key points, and its principles of Russian policy of the Russian Federation on nuclear deterrence. Keep attention, it is about deterrence. This is what many people in the West, especially those prostitutes from the media, they try to say that, oh no, you know what, it's not about deterrence. They want Russia to use nuclear weapon under any pretext. Well, guess what? Russia has enough conventional capability to hurt anybody. But here it is. As you can see yourself, that basically RT gave us the kind of rundown, if you wish, of the whole situation. But here are the critical points which we need to keep in mind when we talk about it. An aggression of any single state from a military coalition, bloc, alliance against the Russian Federation and or its allies will be regarded as an aggression of the coalition bloc as a whole. So it's actually pretty much same thing which was in the old doctrine, but here it is. Here come those critical points. An aggression against the Russian Federation and or its allies or any non-nuclear state with the participation or support of a nuclear state will be regarded as their joint attack. There you go. And so Mr. Sullivan and Mrs. Singh, they should go take the first class in the military science and, international relations, and recognize that Russia, per this doctrine, views now United States as the participant, the party to the war on Russia, because we have non-nuclear state, which is Ukraine, and you have the United States participating or supporting, which is nuclear state, and it's regarded as the joint attack. United States now is officially in war with Russia. But we talk about Kremlin and people who are real adults and much better militarily professionals than anybody in Pentagon or US Armed Forces. So they are just stating this for them to keep in mind. For example, if some chihuahua like France, which they say they will do it, and United Kingdom gets hurt, for starters, that they not squeal. That's how it's stated. It doesn't mean that Russians will respond necessarily with the nuclear weapons. It just states that now United States and NATO is officially a party to the war. The Russian Federation reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in response to the use of nuclear arms and or other weapons of mass destruction against itself and its allies, as well as in the event of an aggression against the Russian Federation or the Republic of Belarus as constituents of the Union State using conventional arms, if such an aggression creates a critical threat to the sovereignty and or the territorial integrity. Okay. Here is the issue. So here is the lowering of the, well, not really. It was kind of implied already in the old doctrine, but now it is clearly stated and stressed that you want to attack us with the even conventional weapons? Well, we will be deciding what is a critical threat to the sovereignty and territorial integrity. What is this critical threat? Obviously, we understand if the attack on the military political top of Russia is obviously it's a critical threat for the sovereignty. Any kind of the invasions, Well, they could be deemed critical or maybe not. It depends. Russia will decide. Same goes to the territorial integrity. Well, why this really rings so relevant today? Simple reason. Basically, the NATO planned and executed this, well, what we can say, the adventurism into the Kursk Oblast and attacks on the Bryansk. So there you go. That's territorial integrity. So Russians, well, will view it the way they want to view it. Simple as that. But will Russia necessarily use this with the use of nuclear weapons? No, Russia retains the right to use it. But as already I stated many times, Russia has enough conventional capability to, well, hurt even those who try to basically create this critical threat to Russian territorial integrity, or in this particular case to the sovereignty of Russian state, or Belarusian state for that matter, which is the part of the Union state. And what does it mean? As have been stated many times, Mr. Peskov, again today, it's like, you know what, explaining to a little child the calculus. In reality, it is very simple, and I don't know how else you can explain to, well, because obviously we know what Western media are. They are there to confuse and manipulate people. But Mr. Peskov repeats again. And this is what those people, they hear it. They just do not allow this go out in the public space and be noticed. And here it is. Peskov repeats again. Any proposal involving the freezing of the Ukraine conflict are unacceptable to Russia, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told journalists on Wednesday. He was responding to an article published by Reuters, which discussed options for ending the hostilities between Russia and Ukraine. Guess what? Even Mr. Trump wants to freeze it. But no, it's not gonna fly. But what we have now is, well, from any point of view, judicial, military, strategic, if we want to use this term, is that NATO is the participant of the war on Russia. And, well, something's already been undertaken to make sure that the message will be delivered. Well, it's been already delivered. Believe me, there are many people who are not completely nut jobs, albeit I think it's minority, but they have to understand, if it comes down to indeed some kind of overstep of something which, again, red lines is the pure figment of imagination of the Western propaganda. And all those honest and, people with honor, I'm screwing with you like Sullivan, they lie, they constantly lie. And so, but red lines, Russia never issued any red lines. Russians were talking. They were talking, but in the process they were doing what is essentially happening now, which even that's, again, as bottom feeders from Bloomberg, they have to admit the strategic defeat is here. It already happened. It's just a matter of how Russians want to rearrange, or if they want Ukraine to exist at all. But that's just purely, in this particular stage, well, I won't call it tactical matter, but it's operational matter, if you wish. Because strategically the West have been defeated, and there are all kinds of now people in the United States who say that, you know what, we don't have weapons anymore. We don't have anything to send there. Of course you don't, because now, and it's been for a while, is the issue of demilitarizing NATO. And because basically the adoption of the new edition of the Russian doctrine, of the policy on the nuclear deterrence have been issued, everybody knows now that, you know what, indeed, if you behave yourself really nastily, Russians will use nuclear weapons, because it is in doctrine. But it doesn't mean that they will necessarily do it now, because, as I already stated, there are many French and British and American ships are in all kinds of the theaters of operation. There are all kinds of the military bases of NATO all over the place. So, you know what, who knows, those people who periodically try to attack them with all kinds of the UAVs or what have you, they may receive some kind of different weapons. And most likely they will, if not already. And that basically what is happening right now. And as in the beginning of the video, you see yourself, that's yet another Su-34 flies and releases those, fabs with UMPK, which is gliding high precision weapons. And let me tell you, as I want to stress, some people still can calculate and can see what is happening on the front line, and they understand that it is over. And well, what can I say? As I already stated, very many people do not understand what actually those cretins from London and Washington, I mean, with the large epaulets, those strategic planners, they committed in Kursk. As I already stated, they basically buried the one combined army there. 14 brigades. This is between 5 and 7 divisions. This is two army corps. So it's in the army. And what can I say? But you know what? It's issue for discussion down the road. But this is what I wanted to tell you today, guys. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on the Patreon or buy me a coffee too. That will allow me to do what I'm doing now. Well, have a nice rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.